Hello and welcome to Telecom TV. We are at the Internet of Retail event in Gerrards Cross, which is north of London in sort of stockbroker country. And I'm talking with Yulia Banakshina, who is the co-founder of a place called the Dandy Lab.
Yes.
Yulia, welcome.
Hello.
I know the Dandy Lab is in trendy Shoreditch in London. Hipsterdom, that's the place, isn't it? It's all happening in there. There's a lot of high tech and there's a lot of trendy stuff going on. Tell us about the Dandy Lab. I know it's a year old. What do you do?
What do we do? So the Dandy Lab is a menswear lifestyle shop enhanced by technology. So on one hand, we actually act as a retailer. So we work with different British brands and we sell their products and showcase what they do. And at the same time, on the other hand, we act as a retail technology laboratory where we work with different retail tech companies, from big companies such as Cisco to smaller startup companies, to really look into the future of retail and understanding how the different IoT technologies that are coming onto the market will help to do retail business better.
You're going to be my ideal interviewee because you've just covered everything that I want to cover. So let's get into it. What impact is the Internet of Things having on the retail industry right now as far as you're concerned?
So I think IoT is very interesting area to look at within retail itself, because what happens at the moment, you have so much data collected on online shops and e-commerce websites, but what happens in a real shop environment, nobody knows. Retailers, they don't really understand the consumer behavior in the physical shop, and from what I think, the brick and mortar shops, they will stay there because people still want to go there and, they still want to try on, touch the products. So brick and mortar will always be there. It's just how the retailer itself can actually understand more about customer interaction with the products. Why do they go into the store, in the store environment? Like what type of products they're interested in and what they touch, and collecting feedback will actually help a retailer to understand their business processes better and sell more products.
Good, thank you. Good answer. Okay. Now tell us let's go back to Dandy Lab then, and how do you then, what's your strategy and policy in terms of the Internet of Retail? What do you get from it? And perhaps more importantly, because that's the reason you're there in the first place, what do your clients and customers get from it?
So in terms of the retailer side, so our side, what do we get from IoT technologies is really insights. So it's insight into what we do. So for example, we are able to analyze the demographic data of people who are coming through the doors using different sensors, and then we're able to see how many people are passing by the shop and why don't they come to visit the store. And also in terms of the shelving area and where products are located, we can see what are the most popular products on which shelves and why. So really what we're getting by using different sensors in stores, understanding our business, and then from these insights we can actually shape the business strategies and marketing strategies, for example.
Okay. How is that going? Is it successful?
Yes, it is successful, and obviously we are at a very early stage because, as you mentioned before, we are a startup company ourselves. But I would say during 6 months since we opened the shop, we actually gained quite a lot of insights, and we were able to iterate our product selection, for example, to be fitted more to the customer who is coming through the doors.
Thank you. Okay, that's a positive side, Julie. What about the negative side? There's
Side.
always well, not necessarily a negative side, but we hear a lot about how great the Internet of Things is and the benefits of the Internet of Retail. What about pitfalls in the way? Are there any as far as you're concerned?
Exactly, there are plenty of pitfalls and there's so many problems. But I would say, because you see what we are doing actually, we're looking into different consumer-facing technologies within the shop environment, and we really try to understand what actually works in a retail setting and what doesn't work. So just to give you an example, what we tested was interactive product display. So basically it was screens inbuilt in furniture units where people were able to click and then learn more information about the products and the brand itself. And what we actually saw that people were not really engaging. So this type of interactive display, it wasn't really fit for purpose, and people just didn't care, like, you know. So what we saw actually, that because the objective of this technology was really to increase the dwell time of the customers, you know, in the store,
Sure.
and like allow them to browse, you know, look for information on the screen. But you know, it didn't happen, like, because people were not interested, and what they wanted to do is just come into the shop, look at the products, and go. You know, they didn't want to engage with any technology, like in terms of the interactive screens. They didn't want to look on the screen and look for information.
So what did you do?
So what did we do? So then we thought, okay, there must be, you know, if you actually implement some sort of consumer-facing technology in store, there must be a reason why a customer would use that. So what we did is, was obviously the primary purpose of the shop is to sell products. So for customer to make a payment is the main objective, right? So what we did is, was we introduced a payment app for mobile phones. So we allowed the customer to check out and pay for a product using their mobile phone. And actually what we saw, that people were really engaging, and they're very, very exciting to use that technology, because, you know, that was a clear benefit. You know, I'm just making a payment and I'm skipping the queue. So this, you know, that learning what we gain out of this was very important and like useful for us as a business. So we saw, like, okay, if we compare these two technologies, you know, clearly payment is working because it's a clear objective.
Any other examples like that? That's very interesting, because, you know, a lot of people, I don't know, but this applies to the Dandy Lab or not, but people, men in general, will go into a shop and say, I want that jacket, thank you very much, I want to take 5 minutes and I want to go.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of men are like that. Okay, I certainly am.
Yeah.
So have you, so they're going there with a definite idea, they don't want to browse, they don't want interaction, they want it and go. But you managed to sort of, one way to increase sales, presumably, custom, by the app. Anything else?
Anything else? In terms of like the back-end technologies, so from the customer point of view, I would say, you see, the other point what we did was actually we introduced this loyalty scheme. So cards enabled with RFID chips, and we gave out to our 100 top customers. So the idea of these cards was, like, if you as a customer have the card on you, you get a 10% discount in store, and once you enter through the doors of our shop, then our sales staff can see on their tablet that this is the John who came back to the store, and this is what he bought previously. You know, he bought the jumper. So basically this technology allowed us to give a slightly better customer experience to this customer, because, you know, we were able to advise John, for example, on what type of trousers might go together with the red jumper what he bought last week. Right. Yeah, so we had tested like this type of technology to kind of enhance the customer experience and like provide a better customer service.
And how's it gone? You've been open. You've been going a year.
Yeah.
You're the co-founder, and you've been open for how long?
So we've been open for 7 months. But the point is, the Dandy Lab was a test shop. So it was a beta version, and it was a temporary shop. So we actually closed in February last week. At the moment, what we're going to do is our second iteration of the project. We're going to look into a portable shop solution. So we're going to take a shipping container and use it as a digital shop, and basically place in strategic places around the town. So, like, you know, 1 month you can have it in East London, like after 3 months you can have it in West London. So really, like, looking into different locations and understanding the customers and providing them with the, you know, easiest access.
Very interesting.
To do shopping.
Really interesting. Okay. We hear a lot in the Internet of Things, and also, of course, in the Internet of Retail, about the notion of the ecosystem. What do you think the ecosystem of the Internet of Retail looks like, as far as you're concerned?
Ecosystem. So I think ecosystem would consist of, obviously, products, people, you know, technology, different sensors, different companies, like, but when you think about technology companies, I would say it's not just big corporations, but also small independent companies that are coming onto the market. So from the retailer point of view, I think you would need to be able to be adaptive and work together with small companies and the bigger ones. and find the balance. So I would say like it's quite a big ecosystem when you think about it, but you just need to find the right balance.
And that's the trick.
That's the trick.
Okay, I just want to ask you a little bit about technology, if you wouldn't mind. Where do retailers like you, like Dandy Lab, and people that you know, buy their IoT technology and equipment from? For example, do you source it from traditional service providers like Vodafone or BT or whatever, or do you lease, or do you buy package solutions from systems integrators, or do you use particular sort of sector-specific vendors who provide exactly what you want, obviously in terms of RFID tags and so on? How do you work it?
So yes, so we work with a range of different companies. So we work with big corporation, for example, Cisco, and then we work with small startup companies that are like 1 year old. So I would say as I mentioned before, you need to be flexible as a retailer, and then what you need to do is really look into the market and see like what type of technologies are the best, and be able to gauge, how they actually would help you as a business. So for us, it doesn't really matter, whether it's a massive corporation or, a small startup company. The key point is you want a good technology, and you want, this to add value to your business proposition.
Thank you. A last question, which is still on the technology, but traditional network operators like BT, Deutsche Telekom, France Telecom and all the rest of it, and communication carriers, they've got huge networks. They've been there a long time. They've got a lot of expertise in managing and running them, and they've got a lot of bandwidth, they've got a lot of broadband available, and they've got quite a lot of expertise in Internet of Things in their own right. Do you use traditional network operators? Do you regard them as being central to the mix, an integral part to the mix, or do you think that you can do what you want to do without going down that route and using other suppliers, as it were?
I would say at the moment, yes, we use, for example, Virgin as our internet connection provider. But when you look, what's happening in the market, you have like different other startup companies coming onto, for example, Relish, which is, plug and play internet solutions. So I would say like big corporations now, they have to, they have quite a lot of competitors.
They do.
So yeah, certainly. But yeah, I mean, at the moment we've been working with Virgin, so it's a massive corporation, and
All right, they're not dead yet.
Not dead.
A really interesting interview, and nice to get a view from inside like that. Best of luck with it. So, Julia Bejnak-Schöner, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.